What are your thoughts on Pete Rose, Bob? Now that we learned about these betting slips that are 26 years,
here's
36 years old.
It changes the atmosphere, unfortunately for Pete. If Rob Manfred, and I believe him, that he was willing to approach it with an open mind, if he was willing to approach it with an open mind, it's case closed for the time being because it's just not going to fly in the court of public opinion now. The atmosphere is entirely wrong when we find out there's another layer to his lies. And John Dowd has said that he believed that had the investigation continued, he could have or might have uncovered evidence that Rose actually bet against teams for which he played, or perhaps bet against the Reds when he was managing them. There is no tangible evidence to that effect, but that is what John Dowd, the investigator, whose work has pretty much, in fact, entirely been validated more than a quarter century later, that is what he says he believes. So given all that, it just isn't the right time. I also think there's an important distinction. I don't think he ever deserved to be reinstated. The rule is clear. It may be worse to bet against your team. It may be worse to bet on your team and not against them than on a game elsewhere in the league. Mm-hmm. But the penalty is clear. It's the same. Whether it should be the same, you can argue, but the penalty has always been the same. If, as an active participant, manager, coach, player, umpire, if as an active participant you bet on baseball, permanent banishment. So he faced permanent banishment for what he did. I guess you could have made an argument they could have commuted his sentence out of sympathy and on the basis that what harm could his sort of peripheral presence in baseball have done at this point, but that would have had to have been a commutation of the sentence, where his real argument was for being placed on the Hall of Fame ballot because the Hall of Fame's board of directors in 1991 had said that anyone on the permanently ineligible list was ineligible for the Hall of Fame ballot, and Pete had been banned by Bart Giamatti with no mention of the Hall of Fame in 1989. Now, clearly that was kind of an ex post facto rule that was aimed at Pete and Pete alone. It surely wasn't aimed at shoeless Joe Jackson, who at that point had been dead for 40 years and who, by the way, remains dead at the present time. So there could have been an argument that whatever his transgressions were and whatever the validity of his banishment from baseball, you could make a case for him in the Hall of Fame. And I still think you can, but I think it's just one that people don't have the energy to make as much as they used to because they keep learning these disappointing things about Pete.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.